There is this moment that happens when you walk into a new job, a new leadership role. You meet the team and you start understanding how things work in the company and all of that. And you recognize something very quickly. Strategy may be very clear, the mandates may be clear, but whether you will succeed or fail will depend heavily on the people around you. And a lot of times when we talk about leadership, we talk about strategy, we talk about vision, performance, but we never actually talk honestly around team construction, how you build your team. Now, I know it sounds like an HR episode. It's not. I'm not talking about that side of things. It's really about how leaders decide who sits close to them, who they trust, who carries their agenda, and who does not. And if you watch leaders move between roles long enough, you'll start to notice a pattern. There's some leaders, I'm not mentioning any names, who come into a new job and very quickly reshape the team around them. They bring in people that they trust, people who understand how they work, and people that they believe can help them deliver. They don't hesitate, not even for a minute. They don't spend time worrying, oh, does this look right? Does it look political? And they don't apologize. They build a team that they believe they need, and they get on with the work. You know, when I was much younger in my career, I used to watch that and I used to wonder, is this right? Is this a bit aggressive? Especially because you could be on the receiving end of that, right? But over time, I realized something really important. These leaders were not bringing in people that they liked, not at all. They were bringing people that they trusted. And at this level, at the leadership level, trust is not a soft issue at all. It affects everything, everything, including how fast you can move. Many leaders, and I dare say women in particular, we arrive in new roles with a very different instinct many times. I'm not saying all women, please don't come for me. A lot of times we come into roles and we come in with this attitude of we're going to work with what we've inherited, right? So we say things like, I'm going to assess, we're going to see how things work out. I don't want to disrupt things too quickly, or I want to give everyone a chance. And those instincts come from a really good place, and it's not a terrible thing to have those instincts. But it could lead to unintentions, because leadership teams rarely fall apart because of a lack of competence. They fall apart because of trust, alignment, and judgment. Your team's not aligned, things don't move. Poor judgment, things don't move. Lack of trust, things don't move. And that's a lesson I have had to learn the hard way. I remember going into a marketing director role, and my predecessor, when he was leaving, took with him, his head of pricing. Did not hesitate. Uprooted my team, took the head of pricing with him because he knew he wanted someone next to him who understood how he worked. He wanted someone he trusted, and he wanted someone he believed could deliver for him commercially in his new environment. And it worked for him. He walked into that new operation with someone who understood his expectations, his rhythm of working. And I watched that and I was like, I didn't judge him at all. I understood that he exercised his power. He understood his assignment, and he decided that he was going to reconstruct that team without a second thought. He didn't feel bad about it. He didn't feel sad about it. He brought his head of pricing with him, and it gave him a head start. This head start that most of us talk ourselves out of. And over the years, I've come to realize how important what he did is. Also, I've learned other lessons. Over the years, there have been moments in my career where I have allowed someone to sit very close to the center of how I operated as a leader. What do I mean by that? They were working in my space. They were working very closely with me. Someone involved in how information moved, how decisions were prepared and made, how priorities were managed. I can remember in 2 separate occasions. So I had these people working extremely closely with me, and in 2 separate situations, they were not people I had chosen for myself. They had been recommended, they had looked capable on paper. So on paper, everything made sense. They were very capable, they were competent. But I didn't listen to my instincts. Instead of listening to my instincts about what I actually needed for that role, I told myself something many leaders tell themselves. Let's see how it works out. Let's see what happens. Both times it cost me. And I don't mean like it cost me dearly. Because when someone is working that closely with you, the impact of the wrong fit spreads everywhere. Information slows down, priorities get distorted, small misunderstandings can turn into huge problems. And the real mistake wasn't that the fit was wrong. To be honest, it was. But the mistake was that I recognized it very early and I still let it continue longer than I should have. And this is the part I really want to name. It's not just that leaders hesitate to bring in the right people. It's also that we are sometimes incredibly slow to move the wrong people out. We feel terrible about having to make those decisions of letting people go. So we give it another quarter, another conversation, another attempt to coach. And we tell ourselves we're being patient. In fact, many times the organization itself will say, just be patient, have another discussion, another intervention. But every week we delay, the damage compounds. We make things worse, actually, not just to our business, but to ourselves, our own credibility, our own momentum, our own ability to deliver. And all of a sudden, you're chipping away at your own mandate. Why would you do that? The team around you can see that this person is not right. They can see what we see, but they're just waiting for us to do something about it. So slowness is not kindness in this instance. It's avoidance. It's avoidance dressed up as patience. And that is not leadership behavior. It's my experience that leaders who move much faster when something is not working don't agonize over the optics, they just deal with it. And that's the way it should happen. The hesitation to bring in people, the hesitation to move people out are actually the same hesitation, and they come from the same place. It's not trusting ourselves to exercise the power we already have. But here's the thing, and I had to learn it the hard way. The problem isn't just whether you choose, it's what you choose for. Because when leaders finally decide to be intentional about building their team, most of them default to competence. They look for the strongest CV. And these are right things to do. I'm not saying you should hire incompetent people. But there's a nuance. We look for the strongest CV, the smartest person, the most impressive track record, and we assume that that's enough. No, it's not. At a senior leadership level, I'm giving you truth today. At a senior leadership level, competence without trust is a structural risk. Please. Because when you build a leadership team, you're not just choosing people who can do the job. My person, my people, they can do the job. It's okay. We know. That's why there's CVs on your desk. They can do the job. We're not just choosing people who can do the job. You're choosing people who will represent your thinking when you're not in the room, who will challenge you inside the room, who will carry the agenda of the business faithfully and not undermine you outside. They're going to protect the work rather than protect themselves. And the truth is, many times you cannot see that on a CV. You can't even see it in the first few months because you're still meeting their representative. And when it's missing, it can damage everything you're trying to build. In one of my early CEO jobs, inherited a CMO. I joined the company with a very clear mandate to turn the business around, and I had a strategy. It was a very audacious strategy, and I was moving quickly. In front of me, this person was like, "Oh my goodness, Uche, your strategy is brilliant. Wow, this is going to be amazing. When we finally execute this is going to be, it's just, I don't know what to say. Like, it's brilliant." So he said the right things in meetings. He nodded at the right moment. I would look at him and he'd be like, "Yup, you're right, exactly." Let me tell you, from my point of view, everything was aligned. But behind my back, he was telling everyone, "This girl does not know what she's doing. She's overwhelmed, and this strategy that she is putting on the table will never work." Can you imagine? This is what he was saying. Now think about what that does. I was in a new role. I hadn't even been in the business very long. I was still trying to build credibility, and someone in my leadership team with direct access to the people who had hired me was eroding my mandate. So that kind of behavior doesn't show itself early. It doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly. It creates doubt where there should be momentum. Thankfully, I noticed the red flags and I moved him out immediately. Maybe some leaders would not. Maybe some leaders would try to work with him. Maybe some leaders would say, "I'm reading this wrong." I didn't do that. I was like, "You gotta go." Because wasting any more time trying to figure that out is exactly what that person would need to do real damage to you and your mandate. There was another one, another executive I worked with, and there were some issues that led to us parting ways. So we had to move on from this individual. Oh, they did not go quietly. They tried to take me down as well. But that experience taught me something that I'll never forget. The wrong person at a senior level isn't just about being a weak performer. It's not just about that. Because they work closely with you, they have information, they have relationships, they have proximity, and if they want to, they can weaponize those things. And the damage can be quite significant. That experience permanently changed how I think about team construction. Today, I'm even trying to learn about how to do that. And I'm currently taking a course on building high impact and high performing teams. I believe really strongly in this. And here's the thing that really crystallized for me. And this is, we tell our children, I tell my nieces, we tell our kids about the friends they keep. We say to them, be careful who you spend time with. Be careful who you hang out with. Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you let close. We say that to our kids. I remember my mom saying that to me all the time. Who are these your friends? Be careful about these your friends, right? So we say that to our kids. But we almost never warn leaders about the people that they put themselves at work. We don't. And the stakes are just as high, if not higher. A bad friend may hurt your feelings, right? They may betray you even. But the wrong senior hire can threaten your credibility, your strategy, or at worst, your job. So if you're stepping into a senior leadership role, or if you're in one already and something is not working, I want you to think about this very seriously. You know, building a team isn't just about hiring. It's probably one of the most important decisions you'll make as a leader. And I'm here to tell you that competence is not enough. You also need judgment about trust, about alignment, about who you're giving access to your authority. Don't ignore that. Don't wait for a situation to confirm your doubts and your instincts. And don't confuse someone being good at their job with someone being safe to have you near your leadership. Because leadership isn't just about the vision you set. It's about the people you choose to share that vision with. And sometimes it is what I've had to learn many times over. Sometimes the hardest part of that decision isn't trusting other people, it's trusting yourself. It's trusting yourself to make the right decisions about the people you will choose to help you deliver on that vision. It's trusting yourself. This was a deep one, but thank you so much for listening. And if you know someone who is struggling with this, please share this episode with them. See you soon. Thank you for listening to the Don't Let the Smile Fool You podcast. I hope you found it really, really interesting. But more importantly, I hope you're still smiling. See you soon.